Gunsmoke's Marshal Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty are one of the most famous TV couples ever. But fans are still kinda mad even today that they never got to see them become an official thing. What really got everyone hooked was the super obvious spark between Matt and Kitty. Since Miss Kitty's last episode was in 1974, it's crazy that almost 50 years later, old fans and brand new ones are still watching and talking about why it never happened. And you're going to be shocked when you hear the real reason straight from James Arness himself. So, let's jump in and find out the truth. Gunsmoke first started as a radio show in 1952. When they wanted to turn it into a TV show, they needed a tough guy to protect Dodge City. Lucky for them, James Arness, who was 32, totally stood out. The legend John Wayne actually told the bosses to pick him, and James beat a ton of other actors, including William Conrad, the guy who did Matt Dillon's voice on radio. James Arness was super tall, 6'7", and perfect for playing all kinds of tough characters. He really got how hard life could be because he lived it as a World War II soldier. The studio wanted someone strong who could handle pain, and that was 100% him. During the show, Marshal Dillon got shot, beaten up, stabbed, and even poisoned one time. The role fit James like a glove. He didn't have to pretend at all. Actress Amy Stock, who was in 4 Gunsmoke movies with him, said James could switch into martial mode in 2 seconds. She remembered the first time she saw him. He had on the Dillon hat, the long coat, but also comfy tennis shoes. He was just chilling in his chair. When the director yelled, "We're ready!" he kicked off the tennis shoes, slid into cowboy boots, walked to his horse, and boom! He was Matt Dillon. She said he was born to play that part. When Amanda Blake got the role of Miss Kitty, she was only in her mid-20s and so excited. She worked super hard to win the part and was thrilled to act next to James Arness. Fans totally loved her as the sassy owner of the Long Branch Saloon in Dodge City. She looked even prettier when the show finally went to color in 1966. That was about halfway through. Gunsmoke started in 1955 and ran all the way to 1975, 20 whole seasons. James stayed as Matt the entire time, but Amanda left after season 19. All through the show, the writers never really spelled out what was going on between Matt and Kitty, but everyone could feel something big was there. James Arness was born May 26, 1923 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He started out as a radio announcer back in 1945. After he moved to Los Angeles, people started noticing him. His big movie break was in 1947, acting beside Loretta Young in The Farmer's Daughter. That same year, he did a bunch of westerns. He was even in the scary classic The Thing in 1951, and that made him even more famous. In the early 50s, James signed with John Wayne's company and did 4 movies with him. It was John Wayne who got him the huge break in 1955, casting him as Marshal Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke. The story goes that CBS first asked John Wayne to play the TV part when they moved it from radio. Wayne said no thanks, but told them, "Pick my buddy James." CBS tested James plus 25 other guys, including Raymond Burr, and chose James. At first, James wasn't sure about doing TV, but he said yes, and ended up staying 20 years, getting 3 Emmy nominations until the show ended in 1975. It was the longest-running drama ever back then. He also did 4 Gunsmoke TV movies. The last one, Gunsmoke: The Long Ride, came out in 1992. After Gunsmoke ended, James kept doing westerns. From 1976 to 1979, he starred in the awesome miniseries How the West Was Won. His final show was a cop drama called Big Jim McClane in the early 80s. Before he was a star, James Arness was a real-life hero in the U.S. Army. He earned big medals, the Bronze Star, Combat Infantryman Badge, Purple Heart, and more. It's wild because he actually wanted to be a Navy fighter pilot first, but they said he was too tall. The Army loved his height, though. When his unit landed at Anzio, Italy, on January 22, 1944, they sent him off the boat first to see how deep the water was. Just 10 days later, on a super dark night, February 1, 1944, he was sneaking through a vineyard, heard voices and a scream, and suddenly got into a huge gunfight. A machine gun tore up his leg real bad, and a grenade blast threw him in the air. His side won, but James needed tons of surgeries back home. He got out of the Army in January 1945, went to college for a bit, kept doing radio, then hitchhiked to Hollywood, chasing acting jobs. He quickly became buddies with John Wayne, and when the Matt Dillon role opened up, Wayne pushed him forward. That's how James Arness became America's favorite Marshal. He played Matt as a fair, kind, super tough lawman. Miss Kitty, played by Amanda Blake, was all heart and zero drama. Amanda was the same way in real life. She loved her job and loved saving dogs and cats. Amanda Blake was actually born Beverly Louise Neal in Buffalo on February 20th, 1929. She was an only child with English and Scottish roots, and her family tree even goes back to a Revolutionary War hero named Kate Barry, who helped beat the British. When she was in high school, her family moved to California. She graduated Claremont High and started Pomona College, but she got hooked on community theater and dropped out to chase acting. In the 1940s, she did summer plays in New England and radio jobs back home. To pay bills, she worked as a telephone operator. Finally, MGM discovered her and said, "You're going to be the next Greer Garson." They changed her name to Amanda Blake because it sounded cooler. She started with the movie Stars in My Crown and did a bunch of small roles, but in 1955 she landed Miss Kitty, owner of the Long Branch Saloon, right when James Arness was a brand new face as Matt Dillon. The next 19 years were magic. They made one of the best-loved westerns ever. Amanda said the Gunsmoke set felt like family. After her first divorce in 1956, she still came to set on her days off just to hang out. Between 1955 and 1974, she didn't do many movies, but she popped up on tons of fun shows like Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Red Skelton, Dean Martin Roasts, Tattletales, Match Game, and The Love Boat. She got married 3 times. Second husband, Jason Day, 1964 to 1967. Third husband, Frank Gilbert, 1907 to 1988. Because both characters were so cool and nice, fans totally pictured them falling in love. And the flirty vibe wasn't just in fans' heads. Miss Kitty wore bright, fancy dresses, poured drinks for loud cowboys who'd had too many, gave great advice, and kept a shotgun behind the bar, just in case. That wasn't exactly perfect 1950s lady behavior. She hired younger, wilder saloon girls and ran the place like a boss. Matt and Kitty obviously cared about each other a ton, but they never kissed or held hands on screen. That was on purpose. The writers and producers wanted sparks, not big, mushy scenes. James looked awesome as the lawman. He was a dead shot and handled huge horses easy. Husband material? Maybe not so much. So if they liked each other that much, why no wedding after 20 years? Was Matt embarrassed by Kitty because she could outdrink and outshoot most guys? Or did he want a quiet stay-at-home wife? Well, James Arness finally told the real reason in his book. He said fans always asked why Matt and Kitty stayed just friends with feelings. Amanda Blake was super protective of her character and didn't want anyone changing her. But James said it was really the producer's call. They thought making it official would cause problems and maybe make people stop watching. James actually agreed. Keeping it mysterious and flirty was hotter and let fans dream. He said, leaving it to the imagination was more exciting. Behind the scenes, James and Amanda were great friends, nothing romantic. And he said picking her for Kitty was perfect. Casting that helped make the show huge. Another reason people talk about a Marshal makes enemies. So if everyone knew Kitty was his girlfriend, she could get hurt or kidnapped. Writer Jim Burns, who wrote 34 awesome episodes, said there was a secret understanding. After the saloon closed and Matt flipped the closed sign, he'd go upstairs with Kitty, but they never showed it. They just flirted, teased, hugged, and walked arm in arm. Never a kiss. James believed the creators kept it vague on purpose, so the show wouldn't change too much, and it worked. Fans sent tons of letters begging for more romance. The writers teased us with other love interests. In Season 5, an old bad guy boyfriend tests Kitty. In Season 8, another guy likes Kitty when Matt's busy. In Season 12, an old flame of Matt's shows up. In Season 15, Kitty gets so tired of Matt getting shot, she almost dies. She almost leaves town. In 1973, they brought in Michael Learned from the Waltons as a new lady Matt kisses after he loses his memory. Super rare. When he remembers, he still picks Kitty. That story came back 17 years later in a TV movie where Matt and that lady even have a kid who gets kidnapped. In one of the last seasons, Kitty meets a guy who saves her life and proposes. She has a big heart-to-heart with Matt, says how much she loves him, but knows it probably can't go further. Matt says it's up to her. That episode was Amanda Blake's goodbye. She had moved to Arizona, got married, and flying back and forth got too hard. She also fought with producer John Mantley because he wouldn't buy her new costumes. Miss Kitty was supposed to look classy. When she said, "New dresses or I'm out," he let her go. He later said it was the best thing he ever did. Amanda herself said the bosses never wanted real romance because it would ruin the old Western feel, and some viewers might not like it. She laughed and said, "Don't worry, Matt loved Kitty way more than his horse." She told fans to just imagine what happened after the cameras stopped, because the show kept it Old West style for everybody, kids and grandparents. The series ended for good in 1975, one extra season without Amanda. James kept acting, How the West Was Won, the cop show McLean's Law, and a movie as Jim Bowie. But in 1987, the whole Gunsmoke family got back together for the first TV reunion movie, Gunsmoke Return to Dodge, written by Jim Burns, and they even brought Amanda Blake back.